Welcome to the deep dive. We're heading out on a journey today through some pretty incredible landscapes, actually.
Yeah, we're talking about those striking landscapes you find in South Africa and Namibia.
Right, right. And we're going on this quest to really get to know these, well, I guess you could say botanical marvels.
Mm-hmm.
The maiden and giant quiver trees. Have you heard of these?
Oh, yeah. These aren't your everyday trees just hanging out, soaking up the sun.
Right.
There's something else. Picture this, a cross between like a cactus and a sculpture. You know, tough enough to thrive in a place that would make a cactus think twice, like, maybe I need a bit more water over there.
Yeah, when you put it that way.
Right.
These trees sound incredibly resilient.
Absolutely.
But I think before we jump into their survival skills, we should probably introduce our listeners to what makes these trees so unique.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we're diving into the Aloidendron family, right? Specifically, we've got two stars of the show. First up, the Maiden Quiver Tree, which, if you're into the whole scientific name thing, it's Aloidendron Ramossimum.
Okay, I'm writing that down. Aloidendron Ramossimum. Got it.
Right. This elegant tree, it can grow up to 5 meters tall. And it's known for these slender branches. They all kind of reach upwards, almost like, imagine a dancer, like striking a pose.
Very elegant, very graceful.
Right. Graceful, yeah. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you've got its awe-inspiring relative,
Ah.
the giant quiver tree. And, well, the name kind of gives it away.
Yeah, giant for a reason, I'm guessing.
Exactly. Giant for a reason. This one, Aloidendron Pillansii, can reach a towering height of 10 meters.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a 3-story building held up by a single trunk.
It's amazing to think about, like, a tree thriving in the desert, reaching those kind of heights.
Right. It's pretty remarkable.
What is it about those environments that allows them to flourish like that?
Well, it all boils down to adaptation. Over millions of years, they've become masters of water conservation.
Oh, wow.
Like, if you think of the toughest survivors out there, these trees would be winning awards. They're able to store water like you wouldn't believe.
So it's more than just looking tough. It sounds like they've got, like, serious survival mechanisms built in.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Can you tell me more about how they actually do that, like conserve water?
So their bark,
Hmm.
that's like their secret weapon almost. It's smooth, like incredibly smooth. And it's reflective, so it helps to deflect that intense desert sun.
Oh, smart.
Right. That means they're not losing as much water through evaporation.
Like their own little natural sunblock or something.
Exactly. Sunblock. That's a great way to put it. And then you've got what's going on beneath the surface. Their root systems, they're incredibly efficient, really good at quickly absorbing any water they can get, even from those, infrequent rainfalls you get in the desert.
So they're prepared for those downpours whenever they happen. I have to say, when I think about a tree, like picture a tree in the desert, this is the tree that pops into my head, that iconic image
I know what you mean.
of the quiver tree with the smooth, branchless trunk and then that burst of green at the top. It's almost like, I don't know, something out of a movie.
They do have a very distinctive look. It's hard to mistake them for anything else. And, that name, Quiver Tree, it's not just a random name. There's a cool historical connection there.
Oh.
Yeah, the San people, they're indigenous to southern Africa, and they were, like, incredibly resourceful,
Right.
They figured out that the branches of these trees, once they were hollowed out, they made, like, perfect quivers for their arrows.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
Right.
It makes you think about, like, the connection between the San people and these trees.
Yeah.
Like, essential for their way of life and their survival.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
And just like the San people relied on these trees, the trees themselves, they're not in any rush. They are like the definition of slow and steady wins the race, right? Some of them live for hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years. Wow. What's the secret to that longevity? Is it all that water conservation?
Water conservation is definitely a big part of it, no doubt. But it's also their slow growth rate. They're not like those trees that shoot up really quickly. The quiver tree, it takes its time. It's like carefully allocating its resources, which lets it handle even those really harsh conditions over long, long periods.
So imagine owning a tree that could live for centuries. That'd be like passing down a family heirloom,
Right.
Speaking of owning one, I have to imagine these trees aren't exactly easy to come by.
You're telling me. Yeah, this is your typical trip to the garden center,
Right.
These quiver trees, they're not exactly flying off the shelves, are they? Because they grow so slowly and everyone wants one. Collectors, botanical gardens, you name it.
Makes sense.
They're incredibly valuable.
Yeah, I bet. So let's talk numbers. If someone's out there thinking, I need a quiver tree in my life, How much are we talking?
Okay, so let's say you're interested in the Maiden Quiver Tree, the smaller one, remember?
Right.
You'd be looking at, somewhere between 5,000 to 15,000 South African rand. That's, just to give you a ballpark.
Okay, so a serious investment already.
Yeah.
But then the giant quiver tree, that's got to be on a whole other level.
Oh, yeah, you're not wrong there. We're talking big bucks for a mature giant quiver tree. Think more like 10,000, maybe even over 30,000 rand.
Wow. It's like owning a piece of history, a living antique.
It really is. And that brings up some important stuff.
Right, I was just going to say, with such rarity and value, there have to be, ethical considerations.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's tricky, right? You want people to appreciate how incredible these trees are.
Right.
But you also have to make sure they survive.
Yeah.
It's a delicate balance, for sure. And it's sad, but these trees, they're up against it. Habitat loss, climate change, even poaching.
Poaching, really?
Yeah. Because they're so valuable, people try to take them illegally.
That's terrible. So for our listeners out there who, they've heard all this, they're passionate about these trees. Maybe they even want to acquire one, but they want to do it responsibly. Where do they even begin?
Okay, so it's not as simple as just walking into, a plant store. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's not some big secret either. Thankfully, there are these specialized nurseries.
Oh, interesting.
And they often work with, botanical gardens or conservation organizations.
Okay.
And they cultivate these trees sustainably and legally. So you're doing things the right way.
So it's about supporting the people who are actively protecting these trees.
Exactly. That's the key. These nurseries, they get it. They understand that it's a balance, meeting demand, but also making sure these ancient trees are protected in the wild.
I imagine there are waiting lists, with all the care and the ethics involved.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's pretty common, actually. You might find yourself on a waiting list, especially for the really rare ones, or if you're looking for a specific size.
You're right.
But, that goes back to what we were talking about before.
Right.
That slow growth rate.
Right. It's a waiting game.
Yeah, patience is key. Definitely.
So acquiring one of these trees, it sounds like it's as much about conservation as it is about owning something beautiful.
You've hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
It's not just about owning a tree. It's about being a part of its future. It's supporting the efforts to make sure these amazing desert giants are around for generations to come.
Absolutely. And speaking of their future, I've heard about some incredible projects, reforestation projects, that are using quiver trees. Can you tell us more about those?
Yeah, these projects are pretty amazing. It's like a ray of hope, especially with challenges like desertification happening.
Yeah, desertification is a huge issue.
It is. And these projects are tackling it head on. You've got organizations and communities coming together and planting these trees. And it's not just about their looks, although they are beautiful.
Right.
But it's about what they do. They help restore balance to the whole ecosystem.
It's like they're bringing the land back to life, one tree at a time.
That's a great way to put it. And it's working, which just shows you how resilient these trees are and how much we can do when we all work together.
I read somewhere that scientists are even studying these trees.
Oh, yeah, they are.
It's like they hold some secrets, to survival in these extreme environments.
Exactly. And that's especially important now with climate change. Right?
And more important than ever.
Exactly. These trees are like living, breathing textbooks on adaptation. Scientists are studying how they conserve water so well, how they handle those crazy temperatures, the droughts, even their incredible lifespan.
Wow.
It's all valuable information. They're hoping to figure out if other plants can learn from these guys, adapt to the changing climate.
It's amazing, really. They're like a key to understanding resilience in a changing world.
That's what's so fascinating about them. I mean, they've been thriving in these really tough conditions for centuries, millennia even.
It's mind-blowing.
It really is. It shows you the power of evolution, of adaptation, and it gives us hope,
Yeah.
Maybe there are solutions out there, especially as our planet changes.
It really changes your perspective, doesn't it? You start thinking about it. And it's not just about having a beautiful tree in your garden.
Right.
It's about understanding the bigger picture, how they fit into the environment, how we can protect them.
Exactly. It's about that interconnectedness.
It really makes you think about, how much wisdom is held within something we might just see and think, oh, a tree.
It really does. They're like these living reminders, these ancient trees telling us, hey, look at us. This is resilience. This is adaptation. And they're valuable. So much more than just a price tag, right?
They're like a symbol of hope, especially now with everything changing around us, showing us that even in the toughest places, life, it finds a way.
And sometimes, the best way to appreciate something is to, admire it from a distance, support the people protecting it.
Right.
Visiting them in the wild, supporting those organizations, doing the hard work, or even just taking the time to learn more about them. Those are all ways to connect with these incredible trees, you know?
It really gets you thinking, what else is hidden in those branches? All those years, if they could talk, the stories they could tell.
I know, right? Imagine all the changes they've seen, the shifting landscapes, the way the climate has changed, all life coming and going around them.
It's like they're whispering these ancient secrets, but we just need to figure out how to listen, Learn from them, protect this balance we have in nature.
And who knows, maybe they hold some answers for us, especially now. A key to a better future if we just open our eyes and pay attention.
Well, that was quite a journey. We learned about these desert giants, the maiden and giant quiver trees, who knew something so, well, prickly, could be so fascinating.
They're incredible, aren't they? Such a testament to the power of adaptation, the beauty of nature, and how life just keeps going, even when things are tough.
Absolutely. And on that note, we'll leave you with this thought. What stories would these trees tell if they could, about all the centuries they've witnessed? Until next time, keep exploring. You never know what wonders you'll find hidden in plain sight.